What if reality wasn't what you think? What if everything you experience, every moment of your life, might be scripted? Is it possible that the life you live isn't truly your own? That the very world around you is a simulation? In this video, we will uncover something you never expected reality might be rendered. Your life may be programmed. This is the true meaning behind the simulation. By the end of this, you will understand what the simulation is and how it impacts every moment of your life, why you suffer, and how. It's all part of the simulation. How to break free from these chains and awaken to the true nature of your existence. Stay tuned because everything you know is about to change. This is not just another theory. This is a revelation that could alter your perception of reality forever. Have you ever had that strange feeling of déjà vu? Like you've been here before? Like time itself is repeating? Maybe life feels like a series of repeating patterns where you just can't break free. Many people experience what feels like disconnect from life. It's as if they're living, but not truly alive. Time passes quickly, and you're left wondering if you're truly living or just observing from the sidelines. Have you ever felt like you're watching your life instead of living it? Have you noticed that things around you seem to loop, as if you've lived this moment before? These feelings aren't accidental. It's as if a glitch in the system is trying to tell you something. Your perception of reality is altered. You may be experiencing something far deeper than you realize. When we talk about the simulation, it's not just about computers and code. A simulation isn't necessarily digital, it's a constructed experience. You're not seeing reality. You're seeing a version of it. Your brain filters the world based on your beliefs, perceptions, and past experiences. The world you perceive is just that, your perception. Reality, in its purest form, is edited by your mind before you even experience it. You see the world as you expect it to be, not as it truly is. You don't see reality. You see a version of it. Your mind edits the world before you ever see it. Two people experience the same event, let's say, a sunset. One feels peace, gratitude, and awe, while the other feels nothing but sadness. Same event, completely different reactions. Two individuals go through the same breakup. One becomes stronger, wiser, and learns, while the other is consumed by bitterness and resentment. Why the difference? The mind's perception shapes their reality. We all live under the constant pressure of judgment. Whether it's from society, our peers, or even our own inner voice. The fear of judgment shapes the way we act and make decisions. But where does this fear stem from? In simulation, judgment is like an invisible cage. It holds us back from speaking our truth, from pursuing our dreams, from taking risks. We constantly ask ourselves, what will others think of me if I do this? Will they approve of my choices? Am I doing enough to fit in? This fear of judgment doesn't just limit our actions. It keeps us trapped in a loop of pleasing others, hiding our true selves, and following paths that aren't ours to walk. And the longer we stay in this loop, the more the simulation tightens its grip. We're not living authentically. We're living for the approval of others. And this rule creates your suffering. The fear of failure is perhaps one of the most paralyzing forces within the simulation. The idea that failure is something to be avoided at all costs has been ingrained in us since childhood. But what if I told you that failure is actually the gateway to success? In the simulation, failure is often seen as the ultimate defeat. It makes us question our worth, our abilities, and our potential. We're taught to fear failure, to avoid it at all costs. We set goals, but we're too afraid of falling short. We hesitate, we procrastinate, we make excuses, because failure feels like a threat to our very identity. But the truth is, failure is essential to growth. Without failure, there's no learning, no improvement, no transformation. The simulation makes us fear failure because it wants us to stay stuck, to avoid challenges, to remain in our comfort zones. And this rule creates your suffering. The need for validation is another rule of the simulation that keeps us trapped. We seek approval, acceptance, and praise from others to feel worthy. From the moment we're born, we're conditioned to look for external validation, whether it's from our parents, peers, or society at large. But when we constantly look outside ourselves for validation, we lose touch with who we truly are. We rely on external sources to define our value, instead of recognizing our worth from within. This constant seeking of approval feeds into the simulation's design, because the more we seek validation, the more we are distracted from our authentic selves. Have you ever found yourself scrolling through social media, checking for likes and comments, just to feel good about yourself? This is the simulation at work, feeding our need for validation. But the truth is, this cycle is never ending. No matter how much validation we receive, it's never enough. We always need more. And this rule creates your suffering. One of the most insidious rules of the simulation is our attachment to outcomes. We believe that we must control everything: the way things turn out, how people behave, what we achieve. But the simulation thrives on this need for control. When we're attached to a specific outcome, we become obsessed with the result. We plan, we strive, and we push ourselves to make things go exactly as we envision. But what happens when the outcome doesn't align with our expectations? We suffer, we feel disappointed, frustrated, and lost. The simulation tricks us into believing that the outcome is what matters most. But in doing so, we miss out on the beauty of the journey itself. Attachment to outcomes keeps us bound to a rigid, predetermined path. We're not open to the unexpected, the new, or the spontaneous. We're not living in the present moment. Instead, we're constantly projecting our desires and expectations onto the future, making us slaves to the outcome. And this rule creates your suffering. Comparison is another major rule of the simulation. We live in a world that constantly encourages comparison. From social media to advertising to the people around us, we're bombarded with messages that tell us we're not enough unless we look, act, and live like someone else. But comparison is a trap. When we compare ourselves to others, we are measuring our worth based on someone else's journey, not our own. We look at someone else's success, beauty, wealth, or happiness, and we feel like we're falling short. But here's the truth. You are unique, and your journey is yours alone. There is no one else like you, and that is your power. When we fall into the trap of comparison, we give away our power. The simulation makes us believe that we need to measure up to others. But in reality, we only need to measure up to our true selves. And this rule creates your suffering. Overthinking is another mechanism the simulation uses to keep us stuck. How many times have you found yourself overanalyzing a situation, replaying conversations in your mind, or wondering what could go wrong? Overthinking creates a constant cycle of worry, doubt, and anxiety. The simulation loves overthinking because it paralyzes us. We become so focused on analyzing every possible outcome that we fail to take action. The more we overthink, the more we delay our own progress. We second-guess ourselves, create worst-case scenarios, and lose sight of our goals. Overthinking keeps us stuck in the mental loop of indecision and fear. It drains our energy and prevents us from moving forward. The truth is, most of the things we worry about never actually happen. But the simulation thrives on our fears, making us believe that overthinking will somehow protect us from failure. And this rule creates your suffering. The final rule of the simulation is the scarcity mindset, the belief that there is never enough. Not enough money, not enough time, not enough love. This mindset traps us in a constant state of fear and lack. Scarcity tells us that resources are limited and that we must compete for what we need. The simulation uses this belief to create tension, stress, and competition. It convinces us that there is a finite supply of everything, and if we don't act fast, we'll miss out. But here's the truth. The world is abundant. There is enough for everyone. The universe doesn't work on a supply and demand basis like the simulation would have you believe. When we operate from a mindset of abundance, we open ourselves up to endless possibilities. The scarcity mindset keeps us trapped in fear. It makes us hold onto things too tightly, whether it's money, time, or relationships, because we believe we might lose them. But when we let go, when we trust in the abundance of life, we free ourselves from the simulation's grip. And this rule creates your suffering. The simulation doesn't need chains to trap you. It uses your emotions, fear, guilt, shame, and anger. These are the real chains that bind you, unseen but powerful. And here's the most unsettling part. You give them the power. Think about it for a moment. Why do you overreact when someone criticizes you? Why do past failures haunt you even after you've moved on? Why does a single comment or a single event from your past have the power to derail your mood, your confidence, your day? The answer lies in the emotional triggers that the simulation exploits. It's not that these emotions are inherently bad, but the way they are manipulated by the simulation creates a system of control. Instead of allowing us to feel, process, and release these emotions, we're trained to react immediately and sometimes irrationally. In these moments, the simulation wins. The simulation doesn't need chains. It needs reactions. Every emotional reaction you have keeps you bound to this simulation. Every time you react with fear, guilt, or shame, you're feeding the system. You're reinforcing the cycle, giving the simulation more control over your mind and your reality. You react, and it strengthens the cycle. This is how the simulation operates. It manipulates your emotions to keep you in a state of constant reaction preventing you from breaking free. Now listen. The scariest part is this. The simulation knows exactly how to push your buttons. It doesn't need physical chains to imprison you. It doesn't need walls or bars or locks. All it needs is the emotional reaction that holds you captive. This is why your emotions, no matter how justified they may feel in the moment, are the key to understanding the simulation. When you react emotionally, you're simply playing into its design. Let me break it down further. Consider the most common emotional triggers in your life: fear, guilt, shame, anger. How many times have you felt these emotions in response to something outside of your control? Fear is one of the most powerful tools the simulation uses to keep you in line. It makes you believe that there's something to lose, that danger is imminent, and that you need to fight or flee. When you're afraid, your perception of reality becomes distorted. You become hyper-focused on the worst possible outcome, and this fear keeps you from taking risks, from growing, and from embracing opportunities. Fear tells you, stay small, stay safe, and in doing so, it keeps you trapped in a cycle of comfort and stagnation. Guilt is another emotion the simulation uses to tie you down. You've probably felt guilty about something in your past, right? Maybe it's a mistake you made, a decision you regret, or something you feel you should have done differently. Guilt is a silent prison. It keeps you stuck in the past, constantly reminding you of what you did wrong. And in the process, you miss the opportunity to move forward. Instead of releasing that guilt, the simulation makes sure you cling to it. Like a heavy weight around your ankle, shame operates in a similar way. It convinces you that something is wrong with you, that you are somehow flawed, unworthy, or broken. It's the belief that you are inherently not enough. Shame prevents you from expressing yourself freely and authentically because you fear rejection or judgment. It keeps you hidden behind a facade, unable to step into your full potential. In the simulation, shame is a mechanism for control. It convinces you that you are not worthy of love, success, or happiness. Then there's anger. Anger is a powerful emotion. It fuels action. It drives change, and it can motivate you to take charge. But anger, when unchecked, is another way the simulation keeps you trapped. Anger is often triggered by an external force, something that happens to you, something that isn't within your control. And when you react with anger, the simulation amplifies it. It makes you feel justified in your rage, and in doing so, it distracts you from the true source of your discomfort. Your own mind, your own beliefs, your own fears. Anger keeps you in a loop of reactivity, never allowing you to find inner peace. You react, and it strengthens the cycle. So, what does this all mean? The emotional reactions you have to life's challenges are what the simulation thrives on. It keeps you in a constant state of emotional turbulence, making it nearly impossible for you to break free and see the world clearly. But here's the thing. You can take back control. The first step to escaping the emotional traps of the simulation is awareness. You need to recognize when you are reacting emotionally rather than responding consciously. When you feel anger rising, pause. When guilt creeps in, take a moment to reflect. When fear threatens to paralyze you, observe it rather than succumb to it. But here's where it gets interesting. The moment you stop reacting is the moment you begin to take control. When you no longer allow the simulation to trigger your emotional responses, you free yourself from its grip. This doesn't mean you'll never feel fear, guilt, shame, or anger again. It simply means that those emotions no longer control you. Instead of being the victim of your emotional triggers, you become the observer. You become the one who chooses how to respond, rather than being a puppet of the simulation. The power to escape the simulation lies in your ability to master your emotions. So, how can you start taking back control? It begins with mindfulness. Practice observing your emotions without judgment. Instead of immediately reacting, ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What triggered this emotion? What do I need to learn from this moment? The next step is detachment. Learn to detach from your emotions, not by suppressing them, but by observing them without identifying with them. You are not your fear, your guilt, or your anger. You are the awareness behind those emotions. The more you practice detachment, the less power the simulation will have over you. Finally, reprogramming is essential. You can reprogram your emotional responses through meditation, journaling, and affirmations. These tools help you create new neural pathways, ones that empower you to choose how you respond to life's challenges, rather than reacting impulsively. And this rule creates your suffering. The simulation uses your emotions to trap you, but you can break free. When you learn to master your emotional responses, when you choose to respond instead of react, you regain control over your life. And that's when the simulation loses its power over you. You are not a slave to your emotions. You are the master of them. And when you claim that power, you step out of the simulation and into your true potential. The most powerful tool the simulation has is your emotional reaction. The most powerful tool you have is your awareness and your ability to choose. If you're experiencing any of the following, you're not crazy, you're waking up. This is your consciousness shifting, your perception expanding, and the illusion of the simulation starting to fade. This isn't a sign of losing your mind. It's a sign of gaining your true self. You enjoy solitude more than before. As we begin to awaken from the simulation, we start to appreciate solitude. It's not loneliness we're experiencing, but a deep sense of peace. The constant noise of the outside world, the need for constant social interaction, begins to feel draining. We no longer need to be surrounded by people or distractions to feel whole. In solitude, we reconnect with our authentic selves. We realize that we don't need others to define us. It's in the quiet, alone moments that we hear our inner voice, that we connect with the truth that lies beneath the surface. You don't engage in shallow conversations. Have you noticed that you're less interested in small talk, gossip, or the mundane chatter that once dominated your life? As your awareness expands, you begin to crave deeper, more meaningful conversations. You no longer want to discuss trivial things like the latest gossip or the weather. Instead, you'll find yourself thinking about bigger questions about the universe, the nature of reality, the purpose of life. This shift isn't about dismissing people or conversations. It's about a deeper yearning for truth and connection. You begin to realize that time is precious, and you want to spend it on things that matter, on ideas and discussions that expand your consciousness. You begin seeing patterns that others don't. As you wake up, you start noticing patterns in the world around you. You see the threads that connect everything, the hidden truths that have always been there, but were obscured by the noise of the simulation. These patterns can manifest in various ways. Perhaps you start seeing synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that feel like signs guiding you. Maybe you notice the way events seem to repeat themselves, showing you that the same lessons are trying to be learned. As you begin to connect these dots, you start to understand the deeper workings of the simulation. You see the world not just through the lens of surface appearances, but through a lens of interconnectedness and meaning. You stop chasing validation. One of the most profound shifts you'll notice as you wake up is that you stop seeking validation from others. In the simulation, we are conditioned to seek approval, whether it's through likes on social media, praise from our peers, or external achievements. This external validation is like a drug, always temporary, always leaving you wanting more. But when you wake up, you realize that the need for validation is a trap. You no longer measure your worth based on the opinions of others. You begin to find validation within yourself. You stop looking for others to define who you are. You realize that your worth is intrinsic, that you do not need to seek approval, because you are already enough. You feel shifts in your energy. As you awaken, you may notice subtle shifts in your energy. These shifts can be felt in your body, your emotions, and your thoughts. You may feel more grounded, more connected to your surroundings, or even more energized after spending time in nature or meditating. On the other hand, you might also feel periods of intense emotional release as you let go of the old patterns that have kept you trapped in the simulation. These energetic shifts may come in waves, sometimes leaving you feeling drained, other times exhilarated. Trust that this is part of the process. You are clearing old energy, making space for new growth, and recalibrating your energy to a higher frequency. You question everything around you. As you wake up, you begin to question everything you've ever believed to be true. This includes not just your personal beliefs, but the collective beliefs that society has programmed into you. You start to wonder why you've accepted certain things without question, why you followed certain societal rules, why you've believed certain narratives about life, love, success, and failure. You begin to see that much of what you were taught is not your truth, but the truth of the simulation, designed to keep you controlled. As you question these external truths, you start uncovering your own truth. You begin to trust your intuition more than the opinions of others. You might question, why do I believe I need a specific career to be happy? Why do I value material success over inner peace? What is the purpose of all this? Am I living authentically, or am I just following a script? This questioning process can be uncomfortable. It shakes the foundation of your life and forces you to confront the false beliefs you've been living under. But in this discomfort lies growth. Because only when we challenge what we know can we break free from the illusion. You crave truth more than comfort. One of the most profound changes you'll notice as you wake up is your growing desire for truth over comfort. The simulation has taught us to seek comfort at all costs, to stay in familiar situations, relationships, and jobs, even if they don't align with our true selves. We're conditioned to avoid discomfort, to look for easy answers, and to follow the path of least resistance. But as you awaken, you begin to crave something deeper. You want the truth, no matter how difficult or uncomfortable it might be. You stop accepting shallow answers and start digging for deeper meaning. This craving for truth might lead you to explore spiritual practices, new philosophies, or even engage in deep self-reflection. You may find that old comforts like watching TV, eating unhealthy foods, or spending time with people who don't inspire you no longer bring you satisfaction. Instead, you're drawn to experiences and people that challenge you, that encourage growth, and that align with your true purpose. You begin to prioritize authenticity over approval, depth over superficiality, and truth over comfort. If you relate to any of this, you're not crazy, you're awakening. You are breaking free from the simulation. You are shedding the layers of illusion that have kept you trapped in a false reality. This is the beginning of a powerful journey. It's time to stop playing by the rules of the simulation. It's time to wake up to your true potential. It's time to embrace your authentic self and to start living life on your own terms. If you relate to this, you're waking up. It's time to break free from the simulation. Suffering is the most painful part of the simulation, but it is also the most important. It may feel like an obstacle, something to avoid, but in reality, suffering is the greatest catalyst for transformation. It forces us to confront the illusions we've built around ourselves and the world. These illusions shield us from the truth, from growth, and from our true potential. Suffering is the chisel that breaks down these walls, removing the false beliefs and structures that hold us back. Comfort keeps us asleep. The simulation wants us to stay comfortable, distracted, and numb, because it knows that in comfort, there is no growth. In comfort, there is no awakening. It is only when we are uncomfortable, when we are faced with pain, loss, or difficulty, that we are truly challenged to evolve. The simulation, in its wisdom, uses suffering as a tool to force us to grow, to question everything we know, and to transform into something more than we were before. The simulation trains you through pain, not comfort. Let's consider the role of heartbreak in our lives. Heartbreak is one of the most painful experiences we can go through, but it is also one of the most profound. When we lose someone we love, whether it's through a breakup, betrayal, or death, the world as we know it crumbles. The illusion that life is secure and that the people we love will always be there is shattered. But in the wake of heartbreak, we are forced to wake up. Heartbreak often wakes us up, forcing us to reflect deeply. It shakes us out of our emotional slumber, showing us that nothing in life is permanent. It forces us to reassess our relationships, our values, and our understanding of love. In the midst of the pain, we often ask ourselves deep questions. Why did this happen? What did I learn from this experience? What part of me needs to change to prevent this from happening again? These questions come from the depths of our consciousness. They are part of the process of awakening. When we face heartbreak, we are confronted with our own vulnerability, our own desires, and our attachments. Heartbreak demands that we grow, that we stop relying on external validation for our happiness, and that we begin to look inward for our source of love and strength. Without heartbreak, many of us would never grow. Without suffering, we would remain locked in old patterns, never questioning what we could become. Heartbreak is the gift that forces us to evolve, to realize that we are more than our relationships, and that we can rebuild ourselves from the ashes. Now, consider failure another form of suffering that plays a crucial role in our development. In the simulation, we are conditioned to fear failure. We are taught that failure is a sign of weakness, of incompetence, of not being good enough. Society rewards success and punishes failure. But what if I told you that failure is one of the most transformative experiences you can have? What if failure is the key to unlocking your true potential? Failure creates a deep, transformative change. It's uncomfortable, but it's how we evolve. When we fail, we are forced to face the reality of our limitations. Failure breaks the illusion that we can control everything, that we are invincible, and that we can always get what we want. It shows us that we are human, that we are fallible, and that there is always room for growth. But in this discomfort lies the seed of transformation. Failure strips away our arrogance, our sense of entitlement, and our attachment to outcomes. It makes us question what we really want in life. It asks us, what went wrong and why? What can I learn from this failure? What does this failure teach me about my approach to success? Failure forces us to let go of our attachment to perfection and to embrace the process of learning and growth. It humbles us and reminds us that the road to success is often paved with mistakes, missteps, and setbacks. It is through failure that we discover what we are truly capable of, what we value, and what we are willing to work for. The simulation knows this, and that's why it pushes us toward failure. It knows that it's the most powerful teacher of all. So, why does the simulation use pain and suffering to push us forward? The answer is simple. Because it knows that without suffering, we would never awaken. Without suffering, we would remain trapped in our illusions, forever chasing comfort and external validation, never questioning what's truly important. The simulation uses pain to break us open, to challenge our beliefs, and to push us towards self-realization. It's easy to think that suffering is a punishment, that it's something to avoid at all costs. But what if suffering isn't the enemy? What if it's the key to our freedom? What if suffering is the very thing that pushes us to become the person we were always meant to be? Pain breaks down the illusions we've built about the world. When we understand that suffering is not something to avoid, but something to embrace, we begin to see it in a new light. Suffering is not a random event, but a powerful force that leads us toward growth, healing, and transformation. Pain is the hammer that breaks apart the false structures of our lives, and in the aftermath, we can rebuild ourselves into something stronger, wiser, and more aligned with our true self. The simulation wants you to stay comfortable because comfort keeps you trapped. Comfort keeps you distracted, numb, and unaware. But when you choose to face your suffering head-on, when you choose to learn from it, you step out of the simulation's grip. You become the creator of your own reality, the master of your own transformation. The next time you encounter suffering, whether it's heartbreak, failure, loss, or any other form of pain, don't run from it. Instead, sit with it. Allow yourself to feel it fully. Ask yourself, what is this pain trying to teach me? How can I grow from this experience? These questions are the doorway to your freedom. When you stop seeing suffering as the enemy and start seeing it as the teacher, you break free from the simulation. You stop playing by its rules and start creating your own. You stop being controlled by pain and instead allow it to shape you into the person you are meant to be. The simulation trains you through pain, not comfort. Pain is not something to fear. It's something to embrace. It is the fire that refines us, the challenge that strengthens us, and the tool that awakens us. Through suffering, we break the chains of the simulation and we step into our true power. It is only when we face our pain, learn from it, and transform through it that we can truly awaken from the illusion. Suffering isn't the end, it's the beginning of your freedom. So the next time pain knocks on your door, welcome it. It's here to show you the truth. And once you see the truth, the simulation has no more power over you. If you're experiencing any of the following, you're not crazy, you're waking up. You are beginning to shed the layers of illusion that the simulation has placed upon you. The reality you once knew is starting to crack, and a deeper, more authentic truth is emerging within you. These are not signs of mental instability or confusion. They are signs of growth, of expansion, of consciousness awakening to its true potential. As you begin to awaken, you will notice subtle but undeniable shifts in your perception, your energy, and your desires. The simulation has kept you distracted, numb, and asleep for so long. But now, you're starting to see beyond the veil. The signs that you are waking up may seem subtle at first, but they are the markers of something profound happening within you. One of the first signs that you're waking up is a newfound appreciation for solitude. You may have once feared being alone, seeking constant company or distractions. The world around you might have seemed noisy, chaotic, and overwhelming. But now, as you begin to awaken, you find peace in solitude. This isn't loneliness. It's a deeper, more profound connection to yourself. In solitude, you are free from the distractions and external validation that the simulation uses to keep you distracted. It's in this quiet space that you can hear your own thoughts, your own intuition, and your own desires. You no longer need to be surrounded by people or noise to feel complete. Solitude becomes your sanctuary, a place where you can connect with your inner self, reflect on your growth, and process your emotions. You realize that being alone does not mean being abandoned. Rather, it means connecting to the deepest part of yourself. You begin to see that your true self thrives in silence and solitude. Another clear sign that you're waking up is your disinterest in shallow, surface-level conversations. The simulation has conditioned us to engage in small-talk chit-chat about the weather, gossip about others, or mindless discussions about trivial matters. But as your consciousness expands, you begin to crave deeper, more meaningful interactions. You no longer find satisfaction in meaningless conversations that don't contribute to your growth or understanding. Instead, you seek conversations that inspire, that challenge your thinking, and that connect you to others on a deeper level. You begin to question the nature of communication itself. You want to talk about the things that matter, the truth of existence, the mysteries of the universe, the nature of love and consciousness, and the human experience. Shallow talk begins to feel draining, even empty, and you find yourself withdrawing from it. You begin to realize that your time is precious and you want to spend it engaging with ideas, concepts, and people that align with your higher self. You seek depth, connection, and truth in your interactions. As you wake up, you start to notice patterns in the world around you. These patterns can be in the form of synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that seem to happen for no apparent reason. At first, you might brush these off as random, but as your awareness deepens, you begin to see that these events are not accidents. You start to notice repeating themes in your life, in the conversations you have, and in the media you consume. The simulation's patterns start to reveal themselves to you. Perhaps you see the same symbols or numbers reappearing. Maybe you hear the same phrases or concepts in different contexts. You start to realize that everything is interconnected, and the universe is trying to communicate with you. This new awareness gives you a sense of clarity and understanding. You no longer feel lost or disconnected. Instead, you feel like you're tapping into a deeper intelligence. You begin to understand that there is no such thing as coincidence. Everything is happening for a reason, even if you don't fully understand it yet. Patterns emerge, and you begin to see the hidden order behind the chaos. One of the most significant signs that you are waking up is that you stop chasing validation from others. In the simulation, we are conditioned to seek approval, to base our worth on how others see us. We seek likes, comments, praise, and recognition to feel validated. But as you begin to awaken, you realize that external validation is an illusion. You no longer need others to tell you that you are worthy, capable, or beautiful. Instead, you begin to validate yourself. You understand that your worth is intrinsic, not dependent on the opinions of others. Your validation comes from within. The need for approval starts to fade away, and with it comes a profound sense of freedom. You no longer feel the need to fit into a mold, to conform to societal expectations, or to live up to other people's standards. You embrace your uniqueness, and you begin to live life on your own terms. You stop comparing yourself to others, and instead, you focus on what makes you feel authentic, fulfilled, and empowered. You begin to trust yourself and stop seeking approval from others. Another powerful sign that you're waking up is the shifts in your energy. These shifts can be subtle at first, but over time, they become undeniable. As you awaken, your energy changes. You may feel lighter, more grounded, or more attuned to your surroundings. You may also experience intense bursts of energy, moments of inspiration, creativity, and motivation. You find yourself more passionate about your projects, your relationships, and your purpose. Conversely, you may also feel moments of fatigue or emotional release as you shed old layers of programming and conditioning. These energy shifts reflect the changes taking place within you. As you release the illusions of the simulation, you align more with your true self, and your energy naturally rises to match this higher vibration. The more you awaken, the more you tap into the universal flow of energy that connects all things. You may also start to notice changes in your physical body. Your health may improve, or you may feel the need to detox or make changes to your lifestyle that reflect your new state of awareness. Your energy begins to reflect the transformation happening within you. As you wake up, you begin to question everything around you. The simulation has taught you to accept things at face value, to believe the stories, the rules, and the narratives that society tells you. But as your consciousness expands, you begin to see through these illusions. You start to question everything. Why do I believe what I believe? Why do I follow the rules that have been handed down to me? What is the true purpose of life? And what am I really here to do? These questions are the beginning of your freedom. They signal that you are no longer content to live in the matrix of false beliefs. You begin to ask deep, uncomfortable questions, and you are no longer afraid of the answers. You realize that questioning the status quo is not only natural, it's necessary for growth. The more you question, the more you uncover about yourself, about the world, and about the nature of reality. You begin to question everything, and in doing so, you begin to see the truth. One of the clearest signs that you're waking up is that you crave truth more than comfort. The simulation thrives on keeping you comfortable, keeping you distracted, and keeping you unaware. It wants you to chase pleasure, avoidance, and ease. But as you awaken, you start to desire truth over comfort. The truth may be uncomfortable, it may challenge everything you once believed. It may expose painful truths about your past. Or it may reveal that the world isn't as it seems. But you no longer shy away from the truth. In fact, you crave it. You begin to seek out the real, the raw, and the authentic. You're no longer satisfied with superficial answers or empty promises. You want to know what's really going on, and you're willing to face whatever comes with that knowledge. This craving for truth leads you to let go of the lies you've been told by society, by your upbringing, and even by your own ego. You no longer accept the illusion of comfort. You understand that growth only happens when you confront the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. You choose truth, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. If you relate to any of these signs, you're waking up. It's time to break free from the simulation and live a life that is authentic, true, and aligned with your highest potential. Waking up can be unsettling, uncomfortable, and even terrifying at times. But it's also the most liberating experience you will ever have. The simulation may have kept you asleep, but now you're beginning to awaken. Embrace this journey. You're on the path to true freedom, and there's no turning back. The escape from the simulation is simple, but it requires practice and patience. It's not about some grand revelation or a sudden awakening. It's about small, consistent actions you take every day to break free from the programming that has kept you trapped. The truth is, the power to escape is already within you. All you need to do is reclaim it. Here's how you can begin to break free from the simulation. The first step in escaping the simulation is to become aware of the thoughts that shape your reality. The simulation feeds off your thoughts. It makes you believe that your thoughts define who you are, that they control you. But the truth is, you are not your thoughts. Start by becoming the observer of your mind. Whenever a thought arises, don't identify with it. Instead, simply observe it. Ask yourself, what is this thought trying to tell me? Why am I thinking this right now? Is this thought based on reality or a belief I've been taught? You are not at the mercy of your thoughts. You are the one who gets to choose which thoughts you engage with and which ones you let go of. This is where your power lies in your awareness. The more you observe your thoughts, the more you'll begin to see patterns. You'll realize how much of your thinking is shaped by the simulation's programming, and how much of it is simply a habit. Over time, you will gain more control over your thoughts, and you'll begin to shift your mind away from the automatic patterns that keep you trapped. You are the watcher of your thoughts, not their prisoner. One of the strongest tools the simulation uses to keep you trapped is your identity. The ego convinces you that you are your past, that everything you've experienced, every mistake you've made, and every role you've played defines who you are. But you are not your past. You are a limitless, evolving being capable of infinite possibilities. The more you identify with your past, the more you reinforce the illusion that you are stuck. Your past does not define you, nor does it dictate your future. When you keep holding on to the story of who you once were, you stay trapped in a narrative that the simulation has created for you. I am not my past. To break free, you must detach from the beliefs that bind you to your previous identities. Release the judgments you've placed on yourself based on past mistakes or regrets. You are not defined by what you've done. You are defined by who you choose to be in this moment. By letting go of the old story, you make room for new possibilities and a new identity, one that is authentic to your true self. The simulation's power lies in the constant bombardment of information, media, and external influences that shape your perception of reality. To escape, you must take control of what you consume: the media, the music, the books, and even the people you surround yourself with all influence your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. If you are constantly consuming negative news, shallow entertainment, or toxic conversations, you are feeding your mind with energy that keeps you stuck in the simulation. Be mindful of what you feed your mind, for it shapes your reality. Start paying attention to what you watch, listen to, and read. Do these things align with your higher purpose and true self? Or are they keeping you trapped in fear, distraction, and superficiality? Begin to consume content that uplifts you, that expands your mind, and that challenges you to grow. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, who support your awakening, and who challenge you to become the best version of yourself. When you take control of what you consume, you take control of your mind, and that's when the simulation starts to lose its grip. Reactivity is the cornerstone of the simulation's power over you. The simulation relies on you reacting emotionally to external events, anger, fear, frustration, and anxiety, because when you react, you are giving the simulation control over your emotions. The more you react, the more you are pulled into the cycle of the simulation. Every time you react to something in life, whether it's a criticism from someone, a frustrating situation, or a challenging event, you feed the system's energy. The ego thrives on reactions. It convinces you that you must defend yourself, protect your image, or prove that you are right. But the truth is, you don't have to react. Reactions fuel the simulation, but responses free you from it. Instead of reacting, practice responding. When something triggers you, take a moment to pause, breathe, observe the emotion without judgment. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Is this reaction aligned with my true self? Or is it coming from a place of fear? By responding instead of reacting, you regain control of your emotions and your power. You stop feeding the simulation cycle and begin to break free from its hold. This practice of emotional detachment is key to escaping the matrix. To break free from the simulation, you need to reprogram your mind daily. The beliefs and thought patterns that keep you trapped were not formed overnight, and they won't disappear overnight either. It takes consistent, deliberate effort to reshape your reality and awaken to your true potential. Start with affirmations. Affirmations are powerful statements that help you replace old, limiting beliefs with new, empowering ones. For example, I am the creator of my reality. I am free from the simulation. I trust my inner guidance above all else. Your mind is like clay molded with positive affirmations. In addition to affirmations, practice journaling. Journaling allows you to process your thoughts and emotions, reflect on your growth, and uncover any hidden beliefs that are still holding you back. Write daily about your experiences, your thoughts, and your intentions for the future. Finally, make time for meditation. Meditation helps you silence the noise of the external world and connect with your higher self. It's in this quiet space that you can hear your inner wisdom and tune into the energy of the universe. Through meditation, you can cultivate awareness, mindfulness, and clarity, essential tools for breaking free from the simulation. By reprogramming your mind daily, you align yourself with your true self and create a new reality that is not dictated by the simulation. The escape is within your reach. It requires consistent practice and dedication, but the process is simple. Observe your thoughts. Detach from your identity. Control what you consume. Stop reacting and reprogram daily. Your attention is your power. Give it back to yourself. You are not trapped in reality. You are trapped in perception. The world you experience every day, the world you have come to believe is your reality, is not truly the reality. It's a perception, a lens through which you view the world, filtered by your beliefs, your fears, your past experiences, and the programming that has been instilled in you by the simulation. The simulation doesn't control you directly. It controls your perception of the world around you. And once you realize this, you take the first step toward true freedom. When you change your perception, your world changes. This is the truth that the simulation works tirelessly to hide from you. The moment you realize that the reality you perceive is not the ultimate truth, you start to break free from the illusion. Everything around you begins to shift. You no longer feel limited by the beliefs that once held you back. You no longer feel trapped in a world of scarcity, fear, or lack. You begin to see the world not through the eyes of the simulation, but through the eyes of your true self. The world has always been here, waiting for you to wake up. It is not some foreign place to be conquered or feared. It is a canvas, a reflection of your inner state, a mirror of your beliefs. You are not here to escape the world. You are here to awaken to its true beauty, its vast potential, and its boundless possibilities. You are not trapped in reality. You're trapped in perception. The simulation wants you to believe that reality is fixed, that it is something solid, something unchanging. It wants you to think that you must adapt to it, that you must conform to its rules, and that you have no control. It tells you that your circumstances, your environment, and your relationships define your life. But the truth is, you define your life. Your perception of reality defines your life. Everything you experience, every emotion you feel, every thought you have, is a reflection of how you see the world. The world you experience is a mirror of your mind. And when you change the way you see things, everything around you begins to shift. If you are stuck in a cycle of frustration, fear, and suffering, it is because your perception is locked into a belief system that limits your potential. But once you begin to shift your perception, you begin to unlock new possibilities. You begin to see beyond the veil of illusion that the simulation has placed over you. You see the world not as it has been programmed to appear, but as it truly is: vibrant, expansive, full of infinite potential. And here lies the secret to breaking free from the simulation. Your perception is your power. The simulation cannot control you unless you allow it to control how you perceive yourself and the world. It feeds off your emotions, your reactions, and your beliefs. It keeps you trapped in a loop of fear, self-doubt, and desire. But once you change your perception, you change everything. The key to breaking free is recognizing that you have the ability to shift your perception. At any moment, you are not bound to your past, your circumstances, or your limitations. You are only bound to your perception of them. When you change your perception, your world changes. This is where your true power lies, in your ability to perceive the world differently. The world you experience is not the world itself. It is a reflection of how you see it, how you think about it, and how you feel about it. When you change your perception, you awaken to the truth that you are the creator of your own reality. You no longer accept the simulation's narrative. You no longer believe the false stories it tells you about yourself and the world around you. As you shift your perception, you begin to see new opportunities, new paths, and new solutions that were always there but hidden beneath the surface of your old beliefs. You begin to recognize the beauty in the small things, the magic in the mundane. You start to see that the world is not a place to survive, but a place to create. You realize that you are not bound by external circumstances, but are free to create the life you truly desire. But awakening is not always easy. The simulation will fight back. It will try to convince you that your new perception is a lie, that you are still bound by the old rules, that you cannot escape the system. It will challenge you to doubt yourself, to return to the comfort of your old beliefs, your old patterns. But you must stand firm. You must remember that your perception is your power. There will be moments of doubt, moments when the simulation tries to pull you back into its grip. But in those moments, remember, you have already begun the process of awakening. You have already shifted your perception. And once that shift has begun, it cannot be undone. The truth is in you now, and it will continue to unfold. Your attention is your power. Give it back to yourself. You are not a prisoner of your circumstances. You are not a prisoner of the world the simulation has shown you. You are a creator, a being of infinite potential. The simulation wants you to believe that you are small, insignificant, and powerless. But the truth is that you are vast, limitless, and capable of shaping your own reality. You are not here to play by the rules of the simulation. You are here to break free, to create new rules, and to awaken to your true potential. The world around you will shift when you shift. Your life will change when you change your perception. This is the true power of awakening, when you awaken to the truth that you are the creator of your own reality. You realize that the simulation has no power over you. You are the one who has the power to change everything. It's time to wake up. It's time to take control. The world you experience is not the world itself, it is simply how you perceive it. When you change your perception, you change your world. The simulation cannot control you unless you let it. You are not trapped in reality. You are trapped in perception. Wake up, take control, and reclaim your true power. You are the creator of your reality, and the world you've been waiting for is waiting for you to see it. Wake up and take control back.